When it comes to conversations about size, most people focus on length. But here's something surprising. Research shows that girth may actually matter just as much, if not more, for satisfaction, confidence, and sexual health. And yet, very few people truly understand what girth is, how to measure it correctly, or what the average really looks like. Welcome to the Healthy Body. Dr. Alex here. Today we're diving into the science of girth. Together, we'll uncover how it's measured in clinical studies, what research says about the average size, and why so many men experience unnecessary anxiety over this subject. More importantly, we'll explore how understanding the truth can bring relief, confidence, and healthier perspectives on intimacy. Before we get started, if you're interested in practical, science-backed insights that improve energy, vitality, and overall health, don't forget to subscribe to The Healthy Body. We release new videos every week to help you live a longer, stronger, healthier life. Let's start with the big question. Why does girth even matter? When men think about size, the first image is often length. But in clinical surveys, when women are asked about what influences physical satisfaction, girth often ranks higher than length. That means in terms of comfort, sensation, and confidence, thickness plays a key role. But here's the problem. Many men vastly underestimate their own size compared to what's average. This creates what psychologists call size anxiety. Studies show that thousands of men pursue risky, unnecessary procedures, from injections to implants, not because they're below average, but because of distorted self-perception. Have you ever compared yourself and wondered if you measure up? If so, you're not alone. In fact, research shows that more than half of men believe they are smaller than average, even though statistically that's impossible. This is why accurate measurement and reliable data are so important. Let's explore how girth is measured in clinical studies. Most men have never been taught how to measure correctly. Some use a ruler, others guess, and many end up with inconsistent results. But scientists rely on a standardized method. Here's how it works. Measurement is done when fully erect, not at rest, not halfway. The penis is measured along the top, from the pubic bone all the way to the tip. That gives the length. Then researchers identify the midpoint of that length. This is important because circumference can vary from base to tip. The tape measure is then wrapped gently but firmly around the shaft at that midpoint. That number, the circular distance around, is the girth, or circumference. A flexible, non-stretchable tape is used. In clinical settings, accuracy is everything, so the tape must rest flat against the skin without pulling or compressing tissue. To visualize this, think of wrapping a tape around the middle of a banana. If that banana is 15 centimeters long, the midpoint is 7.5 centimeters from the base. You'd measure around that midpoint to get its thickness. This method is used in published studies and ensures consistency across different populations. Now the question you're probably wondering. What do the studies actually show as average girth? Reliable research on girth is surprisingly limited. For decades, most studies focused on length. But in 2015, Dr. David Veal and colleagues published one of the most thorough systematic reviews to date. They analyzed 26 studies, covering over 15,000 men. Among those, only a handful provided valid girth measurements taken by trained clinicians. Two high-quality studies stand out. The first, by Wessels and his team, measured 80 American men. Their results showed an average erect girth of 12.3 centimeters. That's just under 5 inches around. The second, conducted by Pramadhu and colleagues in India, measured 91 men. Their average was slightly smaller, 11.49 centimeters. When Veal combined the results and adjusted across populations, the overall average came out to 11.66 centimeters, roughly 4.6 inches in circumference. Pause for a moment and think about that. The true average is much smaller than what's often portrayed in media or adult films. That gap between reality and perception is one of the biggest drivers of anxiety in men. Have you ever noticed how unrealistic portrayals in media shape expectations? What do you think? Does society put too much emphasis on size? Share your thoughts in the comments. Now here's where things get tricky. While Veal's review is the best evidence we have, it still has major limitations. First, the sample sizes were small. We're talking about fewer than 200 men in the most reliable studies. That's not enough to represent the global male population. Second, diversity was limited. The American study focused mostly on Caucasian men. The Indian study obviously represented one regional group. That leaves out large populations, including African, Latino, Middle Eastern, and other ethnic backgrounds. Third, methodology matters. Not every study used the same measuring techniques. Some relied on self-reporting, which can lead to exaggeration or error. Others were done in clinics with standardized tools. This means the 11.66 centimeter figure should be seen as a guideline, not an absolute truth. More high-quality, large-scale research is needed before we can say with certainty what the global average really is. But here's something crucial. Even if your measurement is above or below that number, it does not determine your value, your masculinity, or your ability to experience intimacy. Confidence, connection, and communication matter far more in relationships than numbers ever could. Let's talk about the mental side of this issue. Psychologists have found that size anxiety, the worry of being too small, is becoming increasingly common. Why? Media exaggeration, internet comparisons, and misinformation play a huge role. In fact, one study found that men consistently underestimate themselves. In surveys, more than 50% believed they were below average, even though statistically that can't be true. This distorted self-image can lead to depression, low self-esteem, and even avoidance of intimacy. Some men even seek risky surgical procedures, like injections or implants, which carry complications such as scarring, erectile dysfunction, or chronic pain. But here's the truth. Most men who seek surgery are already within the average range, meaning they were never too small in the first place. If you've ever worried about this, you're not alone. And the best antidote isn't surgery, it's education, perspective, and building confidence in what truly matters. Emotional intimacy, communication, and overall health. Erections, after all, are a vascular event. That means blood flow is at the heart of both length and girth. Poor circulation from high blood pressure, diabetes, smoking, or sedentary habits can reduce firmness and, in turn, make size appear smaller. On the other hand, good cardiovascular health supports fuller, firmer erections, which naturally enhances girth. Think of it like inflating a balloon. If the airflow is weak, the balloon looks smaller. Improve the pressure, and the balloon expands to its true capacity. Practical strategies include regular exercise, especially aerobic activity like walking, cycling, or swimming. Maintaining a healthy weight to reduce abdominal fat, which improves hormone balance and blood flow. Managing stress, since chronic stress raises cortisol, which interferes with testosterone. Eating circulation-friendly foods. Leafy greens, berries, beets, nuts, and omega-3 rich fish. Some natural supplements, such as L-arginine, citrulline, and ginseng, have also been studied for their role in supporting nitric oxide, the molecule that relaxes blood vessels and boosts circulation. Have you ever noticed how much better your energy, stamina, and performance feel after consistent exercise? That's the same principle at work. Studies in sexual health repeatedly show that communication, trust, and emotional closeness are stronger predictors of satisfaction than physical size. Partners consistently report that feeling cared for, respected, and understood contributes far more to intimacy than any measurement ever could. In fact, in surveys of women, many say they prefer a partner who is attentive, confident, and communicative over one who is larger but disconnected. So while size may play a role in novelty or curiosity, what truly lasts is connection. Girth, in that sense, is only one small piece of the puzzle. This is where letting go of size anxiety becomes liberating. Instead of chasing unrealistic ideals, men can invest in health, fitness, emotional awareness, and relationship skills, all of which provide greater long-term benefits. If you've ever felt insecure, here are some strategies that psychologists recommend. Shift focus from comparison to connection. Instead of worrying about numbers, focus on being present, attentive, and engaged with your partner. Practice body positivity. Just like fitness influencers encourage celebrating progress, men can benefit from recognizing and appreciating their own bodies. Educate yourself with facts. Knowing the true averages helps replace distorted beliefs with reality. Seek professional guidance. If anxiety feels overwhelming, Speaking to a therapist who specializes in men's health can be transformative. Confidence grows not from perfection, but from acceptance and presence. When men embrace who they are, relationships improve, intimacy deepens, and overall quality of life rises. So, what did we learn today? We discovered that girth, while often overlooked, plays a meaningful role in sexual health and satisfaction. We explored how to measure it correctly, what science reveals about the average, and why those numbers have limits. We also uncovered how anxiety, media, and comparisons fuel unnecessary worry, and how focusing on circulation, health, and emotional intimacy is far more powerful. At the end of the day, the truth is liberating. Most men are within the average range. Size doesn't define worth. And the keys to confidence are health, perspective, and connection. If you found this video helpful, I'd love for you to subscribe to The Healthy Body. That way, you'll stay connected to a community focused on healthy aging, vitality, and confidence, not myths or unrealistic comparisons. And if you want to go deeper, our next video will explore the 3 essential vitamins that help restore energy, improve erections, and support hormonal balance for men over 60. Don't miss it. Thanks for joining me today. I'm Dr. Alex, and I'll see you in the next video.